สวัสดีค่ะขอต้อนรับเข้าสู่รายการช่างคุย
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ
Welcome to Changkhui in English episode 10. I probably put this in Changkhui as well.
Okay.
It's nice to have some foreign. If you get offended by that, some people didn't like.
No, not at all.
No, I am a foreign. That's fine.
So on this episode, this is is it an ad hoc or it's really a special one because I get friends from in other countries asking, so how's your life? Are you okay? And because the picture they see from all over the place and it's really scary. So I would like to do an English episode on video and just to show you that life still goes on.
Sure, yeah.
It's been, it was bad. The incident that was happening during May 17, 18, 19 was really bad. But it took place in a certain part of Bangkok. It was scattered in some places, but otherwise life still goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm Passakorn. Okay, sorry. And
I am Greg Jorgensen.
And Rikker.
Okay. Where do we see you, Greg? Just a plug-in, or are you on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm all over the internet.
All right.
I'm everywhere. I'm overexposed.
Where can we find you on the internet?
Well, I write a blog about Bangkok, and that's at gregtodiffer.com.
Okay.
And I'm also on Twitter at bkkgreg. And I also do a weekly podcast about life in Bangkok at bangkokpodcast.com.
Bangkok as in B-A-N-G or B-A-K?
B-A-N-G.
B-A-N-G-K, okay.
Podcast.com.
Yeah. That name is still available when you register?
Not anymore.
Wow, that was clever. And Rikker still Thai 101.
That's right.
.com.
Been here a couple of times,
yeah.
But Thai101.net.
Oh, .net, I'm sorry.
Yes, and Twitter. On Twitter, I'm Thai101 also. So.
Okay. So first of all, where were you guys during the riots?
At home. I was at home.
Were you far away?
I don't think at any time was I closer than like 5 kilometers to the action. So I mean, like, I live kind of north central Bangkok off of Ramantra Road. And so even when there were, these sort of satellite groups springing up, I mean, I was never even close to the action.
But, of course, if you have to go to work, that would be...
yeah, actually, I've been working at home for more than a week now because my office was in one of the live fire zones, and I still can't get to it because even though things have calmed down, they're cleaning up the roads and traffic is still closed off on all 4 roads around where I work. So, but I mean, I've been working from home and keeping a close eye on the situation, and of course, we've been worried throughout all this, but I mean, my life hasn't been disrupted or ruined in any way, and I realize that's not the case for many, but for me, I think I've been pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
Where were you, Greg?
I was at home as well. I live a little bit closer. I live in Yaowarat in Chinatown.
In Yaowarat?
Yeah.
In Yaowarat?
Chai.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just don't be. When I said I was surprised because that's very kind of dense, and then
there's not a lot of foreigners live in that area.
Yeah, it's a Chinatown, Yaowarat, for those who don't know Bangkok.
Yeah, it's a cool area on the river, quite close to Hua Lamphong train station. But that's where I was, and I have a great view of downtown and where Central World is, where the main red shirt stage is, from my balcony. So I could see the smoke start to come up, and it was quite scary. But my work is right down on Sukhumvit, or lower Sukhumvit, so my office was closed right from the beginning. So I haven't been to work in over a week and about 5, 6, 7, 8 days. And I was working at home too, but the nature of my work is that most of our work is at the office. So when I say working at home, I mean like a couple of hours
Checking your
a day.
email.
It's pretty much all I could do. That's where I was.
I've actually been able to keep a fairly regular work schedule. I mean, it's actually, kind of nice to get a sort of working vacation where I can spend a little bit more time with the family, but it's of course not something I'm ready to get back to the office at the same time. So.
Yeah, me too. Actually, there was a rumor that our office building had burned down.
Yeah.
And they were saying it's in Mahatun Plaza, and they were saying
Yeah, I heard
Oh,
Mahajan
that's-
Plaza was.
Yeah, they said it burned
Original.
down, but
Yeah.
it was not even on fire. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a Bangkok bank right next to it, which I think was a lot of the targets were Bangkok banks.
Right.
I think it
Right.
may have gotten some smoke damage or some people maybe broke a window or something, but
Yeah.
it's not. My boss was really worried, but once we got word that it was fine.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that I think has affected people. I mean, in an indirect way, is that there's just so many rumors flying, and it took a while. Because of Twitter, people now they get news so quickly, but you have to filter it at the same time. So things have spread around about what's happening and what's going on long before things get sort of visual confirmation, or someone says they confirmed it, but then they 5 minutes later say, oh wait, that turned out not to be true.
I think it's the same moment as when World Trade Center was under attack in 2000 when in New York. I would imagine people would hear, oh, it also happened there, and there, and there.
Yeah.
Everything coming all
This-
at the same time. And in fact, some were just rumors and turned out to be not true at all.
I mean, there's definitely comparison to be drawn there. I mean, of course, not trying to compare the scale of one to the other or anything, but yeah, I mean, there certainly
Especially with Twitter.
Yes, I mean the difference now certainly is if there had been Twitter back then. I mean, I'm sure there would have been a lot more rumors flying around, because I mean it took a while for the news crews to get out and film the footage, and once they were on it, like I remember, of course, on 2001 staying home and watching the towers fall. So that's a little bit different. Is that because there was a press blackout in Bangkok, and Twitter and other social networks kind of became the only way to get news for a few hours. Thanks.
Okay.
Then that that made a big difference. But I mean, certainly.
I think Twitter has been a really, really vital tool for foreigners living in Bangkok, especially because for those of us that don't read or write Thai,
Can you read at all?
not well enough to follow what's going on.
He's learning. He's learning.
I'm learning
Okay.
slowly. It's a hard language.
But yeah, I would imagine it would be tough. You can't read.
Yeah, but by
that time.
by the time the newspapers come out in the morning, your information's already 20 hours old.
Yep.
And then maybe a little bit less than that. And the websites are not updated as often as you would like. But with Twitter, it's immediate. And everyone I know, every foreigner I know, was just always checking Twitter, and they were constantly up to date. But the problem with that is that rumors spread so fast.
Right.
Someone says, "Oh my God, JFK spotted a Silom," and suddenly people
Elvis lit the CTW fire.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and after a while, you just kind of I experienced Twitter overload. I was getting 30 or 40
definitely.
tweets a minute, and after a while, I just went turned my computer off, and I went outside and I relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, I think even if you're not expressing political opinions on there, it's just easy to get overloaded. But and then if you are expressing political opinions or any kind of opinions, then you can actually get in arguments and have these sort of I don't know, difficult arguments where you're limited to 140 characters. You can't really say anything.
It's like arguing in haiku.
Yeah, exactly.
One other thing I would like to point out is that internet was not blocked.
That's right.
It was not blocked. You can have access to the internet.
Right.
Wired line or wireless cell phone, you can still go on.
Yeah.
Electricity wasn't, I don't know, was not out in my place. It still goes
Mine
on.
neither,
It still went on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was not as if we are in war or anything. In some part I would imagine lights out, but in that
Yeah, there definitely outages. But I mean, if you're talking about the overall square footage of Bangkok, I mean, you're talking single digits,
Yeah.
as far as the areas covered. And again, not trying to minimize the scope of what happened or
there was
downplay it. But
there were some very tragic, horrible, awful scenes, and people were dying. A lot of people were dying, and that was definitely areas of Bangkok that were very dangerous. But it's such a huge city.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood, I went for a walk, and this was when things were really bad. I went for a walk, and I bought some vegetables, and I played with a dog in my neighborhood, and there was kids running around and sleeping, and so there was a lot of stuff happening. But most of Bangkok, it was business as normal.
Yeah, I mean, I think the curfew of the last couple of days has been more disruptive to the daily life of a lot of people, honestly, than everything else. Because all the 7-Elevens close down at 6 p.m. and which are usually there's 5,000 7-Elevens in Bangkok and they're open 24 hours. It's very small things.
Just for those who are not in the know, curfew has been announced or imposed throughout